What if every hero in existence looked into the same sky, and saw the face of their greatest enemy staring back at them? What if Superman's world, Spider-Man's New York, Batman's Gotham, the Avengers' Earth, the Justice League's Watchtower, and countless realities beyond imagination were not separate anymore, but pieces of a single kingdom? And what if the ruler of that kingdom was not a god, but one villain who had discovered the one weakness every universe shared? Asterisk asterisk. For 3 seconds, every star in existence went dark. Not dim. Not hidden by clouds. Gone. Across billions of worlds, civilizations stopped and looked upward. On one Earth, Superman stood above Metropolis, cape frozen in the wind. In Gotham, Batman stepped onto a rooftop and watched the darkness consume the sky. In another universe, Spider-Man clung silently to a skyscraper as every light in Manhattan disappeared. Somewhere beyond the known dimensions, the Justice League received the same impossible warning. Reality itself had gone silent. Then a voice spoke. It came through televisions, through satellites, through magic, through telepathic minds, through the empty space between atoms. And it whispered the same words to every living creature. Your universes were never meant to belong to you. A red symbol appeared in the sky, a crown, and beneath it a single name. A name that made heroes freeze. A name that made villains kneel. A name that should have belonged to only one universe. Doom. Victor Von Doom opened his eyes. And somewhere beyond time, something ancient bowed before him. The impossible had happened. One villain had found a way to conquer the multiverse. But the terrifying part wasn't that Doom had won. It was that he hadn't even started fighting yet. Victor Von Doom had always believed that the greatest failure in existence was freedom. To him, heroes were inefficient. Governments were fragile. Gods were arrogant. Villains were undisciplined. Every universe had the same problem. Too many choices. Too many wars. Too many beings powerful enough to destroy worlds, yet foolish enough to believe they had the right to decide what happened next. Doom believed there was another way. One ruler. One law. One future. His future. For years he had searched for the impossible. Not a weapon. Not an army. Not even immortality. He searched for the architecture of reality itself. And eventually he discovered something that terrified even him. The multiverse was not infinite chaos. It was connected. Every universe was separated by barriers, but beneath those barriers existed something older than space and time. A structure. A hidden network of possibilities. Every choice made in one universe created echoes in another. Every cosmic event left a scar across dimensions. Every great hero and every great villain was connected by invisible threads. Doom discovered the threads. Then he learned how to pull them. The first universe fell without a battle. There was no explosion. No army descending from the sky. No dramatic final stand. Its heroes simply woke up one morning and discovered that their memories were changing. Batman remembered serving Doom. Spider-Man remembered being raised beneath Doom's rule. The Avengers remembered fighting alongside Doom for decades. Even Superman remembered kneeling before the throne. The memories were false, but they felt real. And when the heroes tried to resist, Doom revealed the first terrifying truth. He wasn't invading their universes. He was rewriting the history that created them. On Earth Prime, Superman flew into the stratosphere and stared into the darkness. "Who are you?" he demanded. The voice answered instantly. "You already know." The darkness opened. A massive throne appeared between the stars. And sitting upon it was Victor Von Doom. Green armor. Iron mask. A black cloak stretching behind him like an endless storm. But this Doom was different. His armor was covered in symbols from realities that should never have touched. Kryptonian glyphs. Atlantean markings. Asgardian runes. Ancient magic. Cosmic equations. Even technology that belonged to civilizations that had never existed in Superman's timeline. Doom looked down at the Man of Steel. "You spent your life protecting one world," Doom said. Superman clenched his fists. "Then you know why I won't let you destroy it." Doom slowly shook his head. "Destroy it?" The Dark King almost laughed. "No, Superman." The throne moved closer. "I am here to save it." Superman attacked. He crossed the distance between them in less than a heartbeat. His fist struck Doom's armor with enough force to shatter mountains. But Doom didn't move. Not even an inch. Superman pulled his fist back. His expression changed. Doom raised one hand. A wave of energy exploded outward. Superman was thrown through the atmosphere. He recovered above the clouds, breathing heavily. Then his eyes widened. The clouds were gone. The entire planet was visible beneath him. And every city had changed. Gotham. New York, Metropolis, Wakanda, Atlantis, Themyscira. All of them were connected by enormous black towers rising from the ground. Superman whispered, "What have you done?" Doom's voice echoed across the planet. "I have united you." That was when Batman arrived. A black aircraft emerged from the clouds. The Batwing opened fire. Missiles. Energy weapons. EMP bursts. Nothing worked. Doom didn't even look at it. The Batwing was frozen in midair. Batman stared through the cockpit glass. Doom turned toward him. "Bruce Wayne." Batman narrowed his eyes. "You know who I am. I know who you are in 617 universes." Batman's blood ran cold. Doom continued. "In some you die young. In others you become a god. In others you become the greatest detective who ever lived. In one." He paused. "You finally become happy." Batman said nothing. Doom smiled beneath the mask. "But every version of you has the same weakness." Batman activated every weapon remaining. "What weakness?" Doom's eyes glowed. "You believe you can prepare for anything." The Batwing suddenly disappeared. Batman vanished with it. Superman looked around. "Where is he?" Doom answered calmly. "Everywhere." The sky cracked. For a moment, Superman saw thousands of Batmen. Then millions. Different suits. Different lives. Different endings. And then they all disappeared. Doom had not merely conquered one Batman. He had collected them. Every version. Every possibility. Every failure. Every victory. Every secret. Superman stared at Doom in disbelief. "You can't control all of them." Doom stood from his throne. "I don't need to." He extended his hand. Across the darkness, countless universes appeared like glowing spheres. Some were familiar. Some were alien. Some contained worlds where the heroes had never existed. Some contained civilizations ruled by gods. Others were consumed by monsters. Doom closed his fist. One by one, the universes began moving toward each other. Not colliding. Connecting. The multiverse was becoming one. And somewhere inside that impossible convergence, something began screaming. Not a human. Not a god. Something older. Something that had existed before the first universe was born. Doom heard it. And for the first time his confidence disappeared. His head slowly turned toward the darkness beyond the multiverse. "What are you?" he whispered. The voice came again. But this time it wasn't Doom's voice. It wasn't the heroes. It wasn't any creature living inside reality. It was something outside everything. "You have mistaken the throne for the kingdom." Doom's eyes narrowed. The black crown above him cracked. Just once. A tiny fracture. But every cosmic being in existence saw it. The living tribunal opened its eyes. Galactus stopped in the void. Darkseid looked toward the stars. The Watcher broke his ancient silence. Even beings who had never feared anything felt something they had almost forgotten. Fear. Because Doom had conquered the multiverse. But now the multiverse was beginning to realize something terrifying. The Dark King was not the strongest being in existence. He was only the first ruler to open the door. And behind that door, something was coming. Superman looked at Doom. "Victor." Doom slowly turned toward him. "You heard it too." For several seconds neither spoke. Then Superman said the one thing Doom didn't expect. "Maybe you need our help." Doom's mask remained emotionless. But beneath it, Victor Von Doom felt something he had not experienced in years. Uncertainty. He looked across the merged universes. At Superman. At Batman. At every hero who still refused to kneel. And then he looked beyond them. Into the darkness. Something moved. Something enormous. Something that had been waiting for someone powerful enough to unite every universe in one place. Doom slowly raised his hand. The crown above him began to burn. "Then let every hero come." His voice echoed through infinity. "Because if I am going to rule every universe." The darkness opened behind him. "I will need an army." And from beyond reality, the first scream of the true enemy began. The war for the multiverse had not ended. It had just begun. What if the one villain powerful enough to conquer every universe suddenly discovered that something even more powerful had been waiting for him to unite them all? And what if the only beings capable of stopping that nightmare were the very heroes Doom had defeated? The answer would force Superman, Batman, and countless champions to make an impossible choice. Fight the Dark King, or stand beside him. Asterisk asterisk. The darkness behind Doom continued to expand. It did not behave like a portal. Portals opened somewhere. This was different. It was as though reality itself had been cut open, revealing something that had always existed behind the universe. Superman hovered motionless. Batman stood beside him. Around them, the merged world stretched beyond anything either had ever seen. Gotham's towers stood beneath the shadow of alien citadels. Metropolis was connected to New York by impossible bridges of energy. The skies above Earth were filled with ships from civilizations that should have been separated by billions of light-years. Asgardian structures floated above cities. Kryptonian technology had been integrated into human machines. Wakandan defenses surrounded entire continents. And at the center of it all stood Doom's fortress, the Dark Citadel. It reached from the surface of Earth into the heavens. At its highest point floated Doom's throne. But no one was looking at the throne anymore. Everyone was looking at the thing emerging behind it. Batman broke the silence. How long until it arrives? Doom turned toward him. You assume it is traveling. Batman stared. Isn't it? No. Doom's voice became quieter. It is already here. Superman looked around. His vision penetrated buildings, mountains, oceans, space, nothing. Then he heard it. A heartbeat. Not one heartbeat. Billions. Every universe had one. Every living thing. Every world. Every timeline. All beating at the same rhythm. Doom looked toward the sky. That is what I was afraid of. Batman stepped closer. You knew something like this existed. I knew there were forces beyond the multiverse. You didn't know. Doom's eyes shifted toward him. No. That single word changed everything. For the first time, Batman realized the impossible. Doom was afraid. Not pretending. Not manipulating. Afraid. Superman lowered himself beside them. What is it? Doom looked toward the horizon. I called it the Null King. Batman frowned. That's not a name. It isn't a being either. Doom paused. It is the absence of everything. The sky suddenly turned white. Every hero on Earth looked upward. A shape appeared among the stars. At first it looked like a man. Then a planet. Then a galaxy. Then nothing at all. The human mind couldn't understand its form because it had no form. It was an absence shaped like existence. Where it moved, stars disappeared. Not exploded. Not destroyed. Forgotten. Superman flew upward. Doom shouted, "Don't!" Too late. Superman crossed the atmosphere. His eyes burned red. He struck the creature with everything he had. The impact shook the merged Earth. For 1 second, the impossible entity disappeared. Superman stopped. His fists trembled. Then something whispered behind him. You are the last son of a dead world. Superman turned. Nothing was there. The voice continued. You believe that makes you special. Superman's eyes narrowed. I don't. You are wrong. A hand appeared on his shoulder. Superman spun around. It was himself. Another Superman. Older. Wounded. Wearing a black suit. His eyes were empty. Superman stepped back. Who are you? The other Superman smiled sadly. The version of you who surrendered. Then another appeared. And another. And another. Thousands of Supermen filled the sky. Some were heroes. Some were tyrants. Some were broken. Some were gods. One wore a crown. One had mechanical armor. One had become something monstrous. They all stared at the same Superman. And behind them stood the Null King. Doom watched from below. Batman whispered, It's using the multiverse against us. Doom shook his head. No. He stared at the countless versions of Superman. It's using our possibilities against us. Batman immediately understood. The Null King wasn't invading realities. It was feeding on them. Every possibility. Every alternate history. Every decision that could have happened but didn't. Every life abandoned by choice. Every universe destroyed. Every hero who became a villain. Every villain who became a hero. All of it was fuel. And Doom had just connected everything. The Dark King had built the largest possible feast. Doom clenched his fist. Impossible. Batman looked at him. You made it stronger. Doom's silence was answer enough. For the first time, Batman saw the weight behind Doom's mask. Regret. Not because he had lost. Because he had succeeded. Doom had achieved what he had always wanted. He had united the multiverse. And that victory had nearly destroyed it. Superman descended. We need to separate the universes. Doom shook his head. Too late. What does that mean? The connection is permanent. Batman looked toward the Dark Citadel. Then destroy it. Doom stared at him. The Citadel contains the central nexus. Then destroy the nexus. If I destroy it. Doom paused. Every universe connected to it collapses. Superman stared. You're saying if we destroy your empire, we destroy reality with it? Yes. Batman slowly looked at Superman. The choice was becoming clear. They couldn't defeat Doom. They couldn't destroy the Citadel. And they couldn't allow the Null King to consume everything. Then a voice came from behind them. You're forgetting something. Batman turned. Wonder Woman stepped from the shadows. Her armor was damaged. Her sword was cracked. But she was alive. Behind her came Captain America, Thor, Black Panther, Spider-Man, The Flash, Green Lantern, the Avengers, the Justice League. Heroes from worlds Doom had conquered. Heroes from realities that should never have met. They had survived. And they had come together. Doom looked at them. You should be kneeling. Captain America stepped forward. We've had enough of kings. Doom's eyes narrowed. Thor raised Mjolnir. And gods. Wonder Woman lifted her sword. And tyrants. Spider-Man looked toward the sky. And creepy cosmic nightmares that definitely weren't in the plan. The Flash glanced at him. That's your contribution? I'm nervous. For the first time, someone almost laughed. Even Batman. Almost. But then the ground shook. The Null King had reached Earth. A wave of darkness moved across the planet. Where it touched, buildings disappeared. People forgot their own names. Children forgot their parents. Heroes forgot why they were fighting. Superman dropped to one knee. He looked at his hands. For a moment he couldn't remember Krypton. He couldn't remember Martha. He couldn't remember Jonathan. He couldn't remember why the symbol on his chest mattered. Then someone grabbed his shoulder. Batman. Stay with me. Superman looked at him. Bruce? Remember who you are. Superman's eyes focused. Batman tightened his grip. You're Superman. Superman breathed. The memories returned. Krypton. His parents. Lois. Metropolis. Hope. The darkness retreated. Superman stood. The S on his chest began to glow. Across the battlefield, other heroes began doing the same. Wonder Woman remembered Themyscira. Thor remembered Asgard. Spider-Man remembered Aunt May. Captain America remembered the shield. Batman remembered the alley. Every hero remembered the moment that had made them who they were. And suddenly Doom understood. The Null King had one weakness. Memory. Identity. The individual stories that made every universe different. The very thing Doom had tried to erase. Freedom. Doom looked at the heroes. Then he looked at the darkness. And something changed inside him. He slowly removed his helmet. For the first time, Victor Von Doom stood before them without the mask. His face was scarred. Tired. Human. He looked at Superman. I was wrong. Batman stared. You're admitting that? Doom ignored him. I believed the multiverse was chaos because every world was allowed to choose its own destiny. He looked at the countless universes. But I was wrong. He turned toward the heroes. The multiverse is not strong because it is united. His eyes hardened. It is strong because it is different. Superman nodded. So help us save it. Doom looked at him. You still don't understand. The ground split open. Something enormous began rising beneath the dark citadel. Doom's face changed. The Null King's voice echoed through every universe. You thought you were fighting me? The citadel began to collapse. You were fighting my prison. Batman looked up. What? Doom stared at the rising darkness. The Null King continued. And now? The sky shattered. You have opened it. A massive eye appeared above Earth. Then another. Then thousands. Every universe was reflected inside them. Doom stepped backward. No. For the first time, his voice contained genuine terror. The Null King spoke one final sentence. Thank you, Victor. Doom looked at Superman. Then Batman. Then the assembled heroes. And finally, at the infinite darkness descending upon creation. His expression became cold again. The mask returned to his face. The crown above the dark citadel reignited. Doom raised both hands. Heroes. Everyone looked at him. His voice thundered across the battlefield. Today you fight beside Doom. Thor smiled. I'd rather fight against you. Doom turned toward the darkness. You may complain later. The Null King descended. Superman flew forward. Wonder Woman raised her sword. Thor summoned lightning. Green Lantern created an army of constructs. Batman activated every weapon in the Citadel. And Doom unleashed the full power of the Dark Kingdom. For one impossible moment, heroes and villains stood together. Not because they trusted one another. Not because they had forgiven each other. But because there was something more important than victory. Existence itself. Then the Null King opened its mouth. and the scream that came from it was heard across every universe. Worlds began dying. Stars went dark. Reality began collapsing. Doom looked toward Superman. Whatever happens next. Superman waited. Doom's voice became almost human. Do not let me become the villain again. Superman nodded. I won't. The two charged into the darkness. But neither of them noticed the tiny fracture forming inside Doom's armor. A black symbol was spreading across his chest. And beneath it, something was whispering his name. Not Doom. Not Victor. Something older. Something that had been inside him long before he ever became the Dark King. And when Doom heard the whisper clearly, he stopped. Because the voice belonged to someone he thought had died long ago. His mother. Victor. Doom froze. Mother? The darkness smiled. And suddenly, the greatest villain in the multiverse realized the Null King had not come to destroy him. It had come to remind him why he became Doom in the first place. What if Doom's greatest weakness was not Superman, Batman, or the armies of 1,000 universes, but the memory of the one person he could never save? And what if the Null King could use that memory to turn the Dark King against the very heroes who had just chosen to fight beside him? Asterisk asterisk. Victor. The voice came again. Soft. Familiar. Impossible. Doom stood frozen in the middle of the battlefield while reality collapsed around him. His mother. Cynthia Von Doom. The woman whose death had shaped every decision he had ever made. The woman whose soul he had spent a lifetime trying to reclaim. The woman he had searched for across dimensions, through magic, science, forbidden realms, and timelines that should never have existed. And now she was standing before him. Not as a memory. Not as an illusion. She looked exactly as he remembered her. Dark hair. Tired eyes. A gentle expression beneath years of suffering. Victor, she whispered again. Doom's hand slowly lowered. Superman noticed. Doom. No response. Batman looked at the energy readings surrounding Victor. Something's wrong. Doom took one step forward. Mother? Cynthia smiled. You finally came for me. Doom's mask remained expressionless. But his voice broke. I never stopped. She reached toward him. You promised. Doom remembered. He was a child again. A small boy in Latveria. His mother holding him in her arms. Her hands shaking. Her voice warning him about dark forces. About demons. About power. About the price of trying to control things beyond human understanding. Then she was gone. And Victor had spent the rest of his life trying to defeat death. He had conquered nations. He had challenged gods. He had bent time. He had enslaved machines. He had conquered universes. All because somewhere beneath the armor was still that frightened child. Still waiting for his mother to come home. Doom stepped closer. I can save you. Cynthia smiled. You already did. Doom stopped. What? You conquered everything. The Null King's darkness began spreading behind her. You made every universe kneel. Doom's eyes narrowed. Cynthia continued. You became powerful enough that no one could ever take anything from you again. Doom whispered, I did it for you. I know. The words struck harder than any weapon. Then Cynthia reached out. Come with me. Doom raised his hand. But before he could touch her, Superman landed between them. Doom. Doom looked at him. Move. That isn't your mother. Doom's voice became cold. You know nothing about her. I know what this thing is doing. Move. Superman didn't. Doom's eyes glowed. Move. Batman stepped beside Superman. Victor, listen. Do not call me Victor. Batman paused. Doom's armor began charging. You have no right. Batman stared at him. I know. Doom's hand trembled. But I'm still going to tell you the truth. Doom looked at the illusion. Then back at Batman. What truth? Batman answered quietly. You didn't unite the multiverse because you wanted peace. Doom's eyes narrowed. You did it because you were afraid. Silence. You were afraid of losing again. Doom's energy surged. Enough. You couldn't save your mother. The airship. So you decided no one would ever be allowed to lose anything again. Doom's armor erupted with power. You know nothing about me. Batman stepped forward. I know more than you think. The Null King's voice echoed across the battlefield. Do not listen to them, Victor. The illusion of Cynthia moved closer. They want to take me away again. Doom looked at her. Then at Superman. Then at Batman. His entire existence seemed to split between two choices. The ruler he had become. And the child he had buried. Superman lowered his fists. No one is taking her away. Doom looked at him. What? You don't have to fight us. The Null King laughed. You still believe you can save him? Superman looked toward the darkness. No. He looked at Doom. I believe he can save himself. For a moment Doom said nothing. Then he reached toward his mother. His fingers touched hers. And reality disappeared. Doom found himself standing in Latveria. Not the Latveria he remembered. A perfect one. No war. No poverty. No fear. Children played in the streets. Factories worked peacefully. Citizens smiled. The castle stood in the distance. And beside him was Cynthia. She looked at him. This is what you wanted. Doom slowly turned. What is this? Your victory. He looked across the city. Every person was happy. Every child was safe. Every family was together. There was no war. No crime. No death. No suffering. Doom's voice became quiet. I could create this. Cynthia smiled. You already did. Doom looked toward the castle. Where are the heroes? They are unnecessary. The Avengers? Unnecessary. The Justice League? Unnecessary. Superman? Cynthia touched his arm. Especially Superman. Doom stared at her. You're asking me to rule alone. No. She smiled. I am asking you to stop pretending you need anyone else. Doom's eyes hardened. That was the lie. The most dangerous lie of all. Because part of him wanted to believe it. Then he heard something. A distant laugh. A child's laugh. Doom turned. A little boy was running through the street. He looked familiar. Too familiar. Doom watched him approach. The boy stopped. Are you my father? Doom froze. The child had his eyes. His face. His expression. Doom whispered, Who are you? The boy smiled. Your son. Doom's breathing stopped. I never had a son. The boy looked sad. You could have. Doom stared. What? In another universe. The world around them shifted. Doom saw a different life. A different victor. A different path. He saw himself without the armor. Without the throne. Without the crown. He saw himself laughing. He saw Cynthia alive. He saw a family. A life that could have existed. A life he had sacrificed. The vision hurt more than any physical wound. Doom turned away. Why are you showing me this? The boy answered. Because you need to understand what you lost. Doom looked back. The boy was gone. Cynthia stood alone. She smiled. Now choose. Doom stared at her. What choice? Stay. Doom looked at the peaceful city. Or leave. He closed his eyes. For the first time in decades, Victor Von Doom wanted nothing. No throne. No victory. No power. Just peace. Then he heard a voice. Not from the Null King. Not from Cynthia. From far away. Superman. Victor. Doom opened his eyes. The illusion began cracking. Superman's voice echoed through it. Victor, if you can hear me? Doom looked toward the sky. Remember that being powerful enough to save everyone doesn't mean you have to save everyone alone. The illusion shook. Cynthia's face changed. For one brief moment, her eyes became black. Doom saw the truth. The Null King was wearing her face. Doom's expression hardened. You're not my mother. The creature smiled. No. Doom raised his hand. You never were. The illusion shattered. Doom returned to reality. He was standing above the battlefield. Superman was fighting a wave of alternate versions of himself. Batman was surrounded by shadow creatures. Wonder Woman battled an army of impossible gods. Thor's lightning tore through the darkness. And Doom realized something. The Null King wasn't simply attacking them. It was tempting them. It was offering every hero their greatest desire. For Batman, it offered his parents alive. For Superman, Krypton restored. For Thor, Asgard untouched. For Wonder Woman, a world without war. For Spider-Man, Uncle Ben alive. Every hero was being shown the life they wanted most. And every second they spent inside those illusions made the Null King stronger. Doom raised his voice. Heroes. Superman looked toward him. Don't trust what you see. Batman immediately understood. It feeds on desire. Doom nodded. It wants us to surrender willingly. Spider-Man swung between collapsing buildings. So what's the plan? Doom's eyes burned. We give it what it wants. Batman looked at him. What? Doom smiled beneath the mask. A choice. Doom opened both hands. The Dark Citadel responded. Across the merged Earth, thousands of portals opened. Every hero saw something different. A perfect life. A perfect ending. A world without pain. Doom spoke. Everyone wants something. Superman stared at the image of Krypton. Doom continued. The Null King believes that desire makes us weak. Batman looked at the image of his parents. But what if desire makes us stronger? Wonder Woman raised her sword. Then we deny it. Thor lifted Mjolnir. We choose the pain. Captain America stepped forward. We choose reality. One by one the heroes rejected the illusions. Superman turned away from Krypton. Batman turned away from his parents. Spider-Man closed his eyes. No matter how much I want it. He whispered. It's not my life. The illusions began collapsing. The Null King screamed. The scream shattered mountains. Its form began flickering. Doom smiled. It can be hurt. Superman looked toward him. Then let's hurt it. The heroes attacked. For the first time the Null King retreated. But as it pulled back, something happened. Doom felt a sudden pain in his chest. He looked down. The black symbol beneath his armor was spreading. Faster now. Doom staggered. Batman noticed. Doom. I am fine. You're lying. Doom looked at his hand. Black energy crawled across his fingers. He tried to suppress it. Nothing happened. The Null King spoke from the distance. You cannot reject me, Victor. Doom's eyes narrowed. I already did. No. The voice became softer. You rejected my illusion. The black symbol pulsed. But you accepted my power. Doom froze. The battlefield went silent. Superman looked at him. What does that mean? Doom's eyes widened. The memories came rushing back. The moment he first opened the dimensional gateway. The strange energy he had found beyond reality. The source of the power that allowed him to connect the multiverse. The voice that had whispered to him. The voice he thought was his own ambition. It wasn't. The Null King had been there from the beginning. It had guided him. Fed him knowledge. Showed him the architecture of reality. And every universe Doom conquered had made the creature stronger. Doom slowly looked toward the darkness. You used me. The Null King answered. I needed a king. Doom clenched his fist. And you chose me. Yes. Why? The darkness smiled. Because you were the only one arrogant enough to believe you could rule infinity. Doom's armor began cracking. Superman moved toward him. Victor. Doom raised his hand. Stay back. Let me help. Doom looked at him. Then at the heroes. Then at the multiverse. His voice became quiet. I may be the reason this exists. Batman stepped closer. Then help us end it. Doom nodded. But before he could answer, the black symbol on his chest exploded. A wave of darkness swallowed him. Superman reached forward. Doom. Doom disappeared. The heroes stared into the empty space. Then the Null King's voice echoed through the universe. The Dark King has fallen. Pause. And now? The sky turned black. His throne belongs to me. Far beyond the battlefield, Doom opened his eyes. He was no longer standing in the Citadel. He was somewhere else. Somewhere outside reality. And sitting across from him was the one being Doom had spent his entire life trying to defeat. His mother. But this time there was no illusion. No deception. Cynthia Von Doom was real. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. And she whispered, Victor, you were never supposed to save me. Doom stared at her. Then why am I here? She looked behind him. At the endless darkness. At the entity waiting beyond the throne. And she answered, because now you have to save everyone else. Doom turned. The Null King was approaching. But in Doom's hand, something had appeared. A small piece of metal. His old armor. The first mask he had ever created. Doom looked at it. Then slowly smiled. Then let it come. Because the Dark King had lost his throne. But Victor Von Doom had finally found something more dangerous than power. A reason to fight. What if Doom's throne was never the source of his power? And what if losing that throne was exactly what he needed to become dangerous enough to defeat the being that had manipulated him from the beginning? But to return to reality, Doom will have to face the one truth he has spent his entire life refusing to accept. He cannot control everything. ***. The first thing Victor Von Doom felt was silence. Not the silence of an empty room. Not the silence of space. This was deeper. A silence without distance. Without time. Without direction. Doom opened his eyes. There was no floor beneath him. No sky above. No stars. Only darkness. And yet he was standing. His armor was damaged. His crown was gone. His throne was gone. The multiverse was gone. For the first time in decades, Victor Von Doom possessed nothing. He looked at his hands. They were shaking. Not from fear. From exhaustion. Then he heard footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. coming from behind him. Doom turned. Cynthia stood there. His mother. Not the illusion. Not the creature wearing her face. The real woman. Or at least that was what Doom wanted to believe. "You're dead," Doom said. Cynthia nodded. "I am." Doom's jaw tightened. "Then how are you here?" "I never left." Doom stared at her. "You've been trapped here?" "Yes." "By the Null King?" "Yes." Doom stepped closer. "Why didn't you call me?" Cynthia's expression became painful. "I did." Doom stopped. "Every time you heard a voice telling you to become stronger." She looked into his eyes. "That was me." Doom shook his head. "No." "Yes." "I heard you when I was a child." "Yes." "I heard you after the accident." "Yes." "When I built my first armor." "Yes." "When I conquered Latveria." Cynthia nodded. "When I challenged the gods." "Yes." Doom's breathing became heavier. "And when I opened the multiversal gateway?" Cynthia looked away. "Yes." Doom's eyes narrowed. "Then you led me to it." "No." Her voice was firm. "I warned you." Doom froze. "You told me not to open it." "Yes." "But I heard your voice telling me to continue." Cynthia looked at him. "That was never me." Silence. Doom finally understood. The Null King had copied her voice long before he knew it existed. It had spent decades learning how to manipulate him. Every time Doom believed he was following his mother's guidance, the creature had been pushing him toward the same destination. The throne. The multiverse. The convergence. The prison. Doom closed his eyes. All his greatest achievements suddenly looked different. His victories. His inventions. His conquests. Were they really his? Or had he simply been walking down a road someone else built? Doom whispered. "I became its weapon." Cynthia shook her head. "No." Doom looked at her. "You became its key." A strange sound echoed through the darkness. A deep vibration. Cynthia looked upward. "It knows you're here." Doom raised his head. "Good. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." "No." Her voice became urgent. "The Null King cannot enter this place." Doom's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Because this is the one place it cannot control." Doom looked around. "What is this?" Cynthia answered. "Choice." Doom said nothing. "This is the place between decisions," she continued. "Every universe has it. Every person reaches it. The moment before a choice becomes reality." Doom looked into the darkness. "So this is where possibilities are born. And where they die." Doom slowly looked at the old piece of armor in his hand. The first mask. He remembered building it as a young man. Before the Empire. Before the throne. Before the multiverse. Back when he believed intelligence alone could overcome anything. He turned it over. Something was carved into the inside. A sentence. His own handwriting. Doom read it silently. Then Cynthia asked, "What does it say?" Doom answered, "I will never be powerless again." Cynthia looked at him. "And did it work?" Doom stared at the mask. "No." The darkness trembled. Something was coming. Cynthia stepped backward. "Victor." Doom raised the old mask. "It's time." "For what?" "To become powerless." Cynthia stared at him. Doom smiled. "That's what it doesn't understand." He placed the old mask against his face. The moment it touched him, the darkness exploded. Across reality, Superman felt something change. He was standing on the battlefield. The Null King had taken control of the Dark Citadel. Its towers had transformed into enormous black structures. The sky was bleeding darkness. Every universe was being pulled toward one central point. Batman stared at the readings. "We're losing time." Flash looked at him. "How much?" Batman hesitated. "Minutes." Flash swallowed. "Minutes until what?" Batman looked toward the sky. "Until there are no universes left." Superman clenched his fists. "We need Doom." Batman shook his head. "We don't know where he is." Thor raised Mjolnir. "Then we find him." Green Lantern looked toward the Citadel. "How?" Batman activated a device. A small projection appeared. Doom's throne. It was empty. But beneath it was a single signal. Batman stared. "He left something behind." Superman stepped closer. "What?" Batman zoomed in. "A message. One word. Trust." Superman understood. "It's a trap." Batman nodded. "Probably." Spider-Man looked between them. "So we're walking into the trap?" Batman looked at him. "Yes." Spider-Man sighed. "Great." The heroes charged. Inside the dark citadel, the corridors had changed. The walls moved. Doors opened into different universes. One room contained Gotham. Another contained Asgard. Another contained a dead Krypton. Another contained a universe where the Avengers had never formed. The heroes moved through impossible realities. Every room tried to distract them. Every hallway showed them something they had lost. But they continued. Batman led the way. Superman protected the rear. Wonder Woman moved beside Thor. Flash moved ahead. Then Batman stopped. What? Everyone froze. He pointed toward the corridor. There were footprints. Human footprints. Fresh. Superman looked down. Doom. Batman nodded. He's here. They followed the footprints. They led to a massive circular chamber. At the center was Doom's throne. But sitting on it wasn't Doom. It was Batman. A different Batman. Wearing a black and gold suit. The heroes froze. The alternate Batman looked at them. You came. Bruce Wayne stared. Who are you? The other Batman smiled. You. Bruce's expression hardened. No. Yes. The alternate Batman stood. I am what you become when you finally stop caring about saving everyone. Bruce said nothing. The alternate Batman walked toward him. You think your rules make you better? Bruce clenched his fists. They keep me human. The other Batman laughed. Human. He pointed around the chamber. Look at what humanity did. Wars. Destroyed worlds. Dead heroes. Broken timelines. He looked at Bruce. I realized something. What? Doom was right. The room went silent. The alternate Batman continued. One ruler. One law. No chaos. Bruce stepped forward. And you became that ruler? The alternate Batman smiled. No. He pointed toward the throne. I became its servant. The throne opened. Dark energy erupted. The Null King's voice filled the chamber. Every hero eventually reaches the same conclusion. Superman looked upward. What conclusion? That freedom is too painful. The chamber transformed. Every hero saw their greatest failure. Superman saw Krypton. Wonder Woman saw every innocent life she failed to save. Thor saw Asgard burning. Spider-Man saw every person he couldn't protect. Batman saw his parents. Again. But this time Batman didn't look away. He stepped toward the vision. His father appeared. Bruce. Batman stopped. His mother's voice followed. You don't have to keep doing this. Bruce's eyes filled with tears. For years he had imagined this moment. For years he had dreamed of hearing their voices. And now they were here. But Batman knew. They weren't real. His father smiled. You've suffered enough. Bruce whispered. I know. His mother stepped closer. Then come home. Bruce closed his eyes. No. The illusion flickered. His father looked confused. Bruce opened his eyes. I miss you. The room became silent. But you're not my parents. The illusion shattered. Batman turned toward the others. That's what it wants. Superman nodded. Then the entire chamber shook. A portal opened. Doom stepped through. But he looked different. His armor was gone. The green cloak was torn. His mask was old. Primitive. The armor of the Dark King had disappeared. Only the original Doom remained. The heroes stared. Thor raised Mjolnir. Where is your armor? Doom answered. Gone. Superman looked at him. Your power? Gone. Batman narrowed his eyes. Your throne? Gone. Spider-Man blinked. So you're basically regular Doom now? Doom looked at him. Be careful. Spider-Man raised his hands. Just asking. Doom stepped toward the group. I have learned something. Batman said nothing. Doom looked at all of them. I spent my entire life believing power was the answer. He looked toward Superman. It wasn't. Then he looked toward Batman. Control wasn't either. He turned toward the dark chamber. And neither was victory. Doom raised the old mask. The Null King feeds on the desire to control reality. Superman asked. Then how do we stop it? Doom looked at him. We don't control reality. Batman understood first. We choose. Doom nodded. Exactly. The Null King emerged. Its enormous form filled the chamber. You cannot defeat me without power. Doom looked upward. I don't need to defeat you. The Null King paused. What? Doom smiled. I only need to make you irrelevant. The old mask began glowing. The chamber filled with countless possibilities. Every universe. Every timeline. Every decision. Every hero. Every villain. All connected. But this time they weren't being controlled. They were choosing. The Null King screamed. No. Doom raised the mask. Every universe has a right to choose its own future. Superman stepped forward. And no king gets to decide it for them. Batman stepped beside him. Not even you. Doom looked at Batman. A small smile appeared beneath the mask. Especially not me. The heroes attacked. Not with one plan. Not under one command. Each fought differently. Because that was the point. Wonder Woman chose courage. Thor chose sacrifice. Spider-Man chose responsibility. Batman chose hope. Superman chose compassion. And Doom chose trust. The Null King began collapsing. Its body fractured into billions of pieces of darkness. But then it laughed. You think this is victory? Doom froze. The creature's voice became a whisper. You still haven't understood what I am. The darkness pulled inward. Every universe stopped. Every hero stopped. Every heartbeat stopped. The Null King became a single black point. Then it spoke. I am not the enemy outside your universe. The point expanded. I am the fear inside it. Doom's eyes widened. The creature continued. And you cannot destroy fear. The black point exploded. A shockwave tore through the multiverse. Superman was thrown away. Batman disappeared. The heroes vanished into different realities. Doom remained alone. The darkness surrounded him. Then the Null King whispered. Now. A crown appeared above Doom. Choose. Doom looked up. The throne returned. His armor returned. His armies returned. His power returned. Everything he had ever wanted stood before him. And beyond the throne was one final door. Behind it was his mother. Alive. Waiting. Doom stared at the door. The Null King whispered. You can have everything. Doom stepped forward. His hand reached toward the throne. For one terrifying second. It looked like he was going to take it. Then Doom stopped. He looked at the crown. Then at the door. Then at the darkness. And slowly, he turned away. No. The Null King screamed. Doom removed the crown. He dropped it. I have spent my entire life trying to become powerful enough to control fate. He looked toward the darkness. But fate was never mine to control. Doom raised the old mask. It was mine to accept. The crown shattered. The throne exploded. And somewhere across the multiverse, Superman opened his eyes. He saw light. Batman saw stars. Wonder Woman saw Themyscira. Thor saw Asgard. Every universe began separating. Slowly. Painfully. Beautifully. The multiverse was becoming itself again. But there was one problem. Doom was still missing. Batman searched the dimensional readings. Where is he? Superman looked toward the void. Then he heard something. A faint metallic sound. A heartbeat. One heartbeat. Coming from nowhere. Superman flew toward it. Batman followed. They entered a small pocket of reality. Doom stood there. Alone. Without his throne. Without his army. Without his crown. He was holding the old mask. Superman approached. Victor. Doom looked at him. It is finished. Batman examined the surrounding space. Is it? Doom nodded. For now. Superman frowned. For now. Doom looked toward the darkness beyond them. The Null King is gone. Batman stared. Gone? Doom shook his head. No. He looked directly at Batman. It is inside every universe. Batman went still. Doom continued. Fear cannot be destroyed. Superman asked. Then what happens now? Doom looked toward the infinite stars. Now. He placed the old mask over his face. We learn to live with it. Then something flashed in the distance. A single black star. Batman noticed it. Victor. Doom turned. The black star pulsed once. Twice. Then disappeared. Doom stared at the place where it had been. His voice became almost a whisper. That wasn't the Null King. Superman asked. What was it? Doom didn't answer. Because he had recognized the energy. He had seen it before. Long before the multiverse. Long before his throne. Long before the Null King. It was the signature of another universe. A universe that had not been conquered. A universe that had never been connected. A universe that had been watching. And from somewhere beyond existence, a new voice spoke. Victor Von Doom. Doom's eyes narrowed. The voice continued. You thought you were the Dark King. Pause. You were only the first. The screen of reality went black. And in the darkness, one final symbol appeared. Not Doom's crown. Not the Null King's mark. Something else. Something older. Something that had been waiting for the multiverse to separate again. The war had changed. And this time, Doom wasn't the one being hunted. He was the one being invited. What if the universe that had been watching Doom was not another reality at all, but the first universe, the world that existed before the multiverse was born? And what if its ruler knew the one secret capable of turning every hero against Victor Von Doom? Asterisk asterisk. The voice faded, but the symbol remained. A black circle surrounded by 7 fractured stars. Doom stared at it. Superman hovered beside him. Batman stood below. Neither spoke, because something about the symbol felt wrong. Not evil. Older than evil. Batman finally broke the silence. You recognize it? Doom didn't answer. Victor. Doom slowly raised one hand. Do not touch it. Batman stopped. Why? Because it isn't a symbol. Superman looked closer. What is it? Doom's voice became almost a whisper. It's a door. The symbol suddenly expanded. Reality bent around it. Every star disappeared. Every sound vanished. Then the door opened. Not into darkness. Into light. Blinding white light poured across the dimensional pocket. Superman raised his arm to shield his eyes. Batman activated his lenses. Doom simply stared. On the other side stood a city. But it wasn't like any city they had ever seen. There were no streets, no buildings, no sky. Everything appeared to float inside an endless white ocean. At the center stood a massive tower. And on top of it sat a throne. Someone was waiting. A figure in silver armor. No cape. No crown. No weapon. Just a calm face and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. The figure looked directly at Doom. Victor Von Doom. Doom stepped forward. Identify yourself. The stranger smiled. You still give orders. Doom's eyes narrowed. I asked a question. And I asked one too. Superman stepped between them. We're not here to fight. The stranger looked at Superman. Kal-El. Superman froze. You know me. I know every version of you. Batman immediately understood. Another multiversal observer. The stranger looked at him. No. Batman frowned. Then what are you? The stranger stood. I am the keeper of the first world. Doom's expression changed. The first world? The stranger nodded. The reality that existed before your multiverse. Superman looked at Doom. You said there was nothing before the first universe. Doom shook his head. I said I had never found anything. The stranger smiled. Because we did not want you to. Doom stepped forward. You manipulated the multiverse. No. You watched it. Yes. You allowed the Null King to rise. Yes. Doom's eyes hardened. Then you are responsible. The stranger's expression remained calm. No, Victor. He looked across the infinite white realm. You are. Silence. The words struck harder than an attack. The stranger continued. We watched your universes create gods, monsters, heroes, tyrants, and kings. He looked at Superman. You created hope. Then Batman. You created fear. Then Doom. And you created control. Doom clenched his fist. You speak as if you are above us. We are. Superman stepped forward. Then why didn't you stop the Null King? The stranger looked at him. Because we couldn't. Batman frowned. You couldn't? The first world has one law. The stranger's eyes became cold. We cannot interfere with younger realities. Doom laughed. A convenient law. It is not convenience. The stranger looked toward the distant horizon. It is survival. Suddenly the white world trembled. The stranger turned. For the first time, fear appeared in his eyes. Doom noticed. What happened? The stranger whispered. Something crossed the boundary. A black line appeared across the white sky. Then another. Then thousands. Superman's eyes narrowed. Is that the Null King? The stranger shook his head. No. Batman stepped closer. Then what is it? The stranger looked at Doom. You. Doom stared at him. What? The stranger pointed. The Null King did not cross into the first world. He paused. You did. Doom looked behind himself. A trail of black energy followed him. The same energy that had been spreading across his armor. The same symbol. The same darkness. Doom's eyes widened. You said the Null King was inside every universe. Yes. And now it is here. No. The stranger looked directly at him. It was never inside you. Doom froze. It was born from you. The world went silent. Superman looked at Doom. Batman slowly lowered his weapon. Doom's voice became cold. Explain. The stranger stepped closer. Every universe has a fear. Every step he took caused the white ground to ripple. But fear alone cannot become a living entity. Doom stared. It needs consciousness. Yes. A mind. Yes. Mine. The stranger nodded. Doom's expression hardened. You're saying the Null King is your shadow. Doom looked down at his hands. Every memory returned. Every moment of anger. Every failure. Every decision. Every time he had thought the world needed him. Every time he had chosen control instead of trust. Every time he had believed that only Victor Von Doom was capable of fixing existence. The Null King wasn't an external enemy. It was the part of Doom that refused to accept uncertainty. The part that demanded absolute control. The part that would rather destroy freedom than risk losing someone again. Doom whispered, I created it. The stranger nodded. You gave it form. Superman stepped closer. Then maybe that means Doom can stop it. The stranger looked at him. Perhaps. Batman asked, how? The stranger pointed toward the tower. By confronting the part of himself he has never faced. Doom stared at the tower. What is inside? The stranger answered, every version of you. The tower doors opened. Doom walked inside. Superman followed. Batman followed. The others waited outside. The interior was enormous. There were thousands of doors. Each one marked with a different symbol. Doom recognized some immediately. Earth 616. Earth Prime. Dark timelines. Alternate futures. Dead realities. He stopped at one door. Behind it was a younger Victor. A brilliant scientist. No armor. No throne. No scars. Just a man. Doom opened the door. The younger Victor looked up. Who are you? Doom stared at him. You. The younger Victor laughed. That is impossible. Doom removed his mask. The younger version stared. You became me. No. The younger Victor stepped closer. You became the thing I was afraid of. Doom looked away. The younger Victor continued. You wanted to save everyone. Doom nodded. But somewhere along the way, the younger Victor pointed at him. You started believing everyone needed to be saved from themselves. Doom closed his eyes. That sentence hurt. Because it was true. He had never truly trusted humanity. He had never truly trusted heroes. He had never truly trusted gods. And most importantly, he had never trusted himself. Another door opened. This time, Doom saw a different version of himself. A Doom who had never conquered Latveria. He was old. Happy. Surrounded by family. Doom watched silently. The alternate Doom laughed with his children. He wasn't a king. He wasn't feared. He wasn't worshipped. He was simply loved. Doom whispered, that could have been me. Batman stood beside him. Yes. Doom looked at Batman. You don't pity me. No. Why? Because pity doesn't change anything. Doom nodded. For some reason he respected that answer. Another door opened. This one showed the Dark King. The version of Doom who had ruled every universe. His armor was magnificent. His crown was enormous. Every hero knelt before him. Every god served him. Every universe carried his symbol. Doom stared at the throne. The Dark King smiled. You could still have it. Doom walked closer. You are the Null King. The Dark King laughed. No. He pointed toward his own chest. I am what you wanted to become. Doom stopped. The Dark King continued. You blame me because it is easier than blaming yourself. Doom stared. You manipulated me. Yes. But you were born from my fear. Yes. You are my weakness. No. The Dark King stepped down from the throne. I am your desire. Doom's eyes narrowed. To control everything. To never lose again. To make the universe obey. To become powerful enough that no one could ever hurt you. The Dark King smiled. And you still want it? Doom said nothing. The Dark King whispered, don't lie. Doom looked at the throne. For a moment, he wanted it. He wanted the armor. The crown. The power. The certainty. No more uncertainty. No more loss. No more helplessness. No more funerals. No more worlds collapsing. No more watching people die. He could fix everything. He could make every universe perfect. He could prevent every war before it began. He could stop every villain. He could protect every child. He could save his mother. He could even create the family he never had. All he had to do was sit on the throne again. Doom stepped toward it. Batman watched silently. Superman whispered, Victor. Doom stopped. Batman said nothing. He simply looked at Doom. And Doom realized why. Batman understood. Because Batman had faced the same temptation. A world without crime. A world where his parents lived. A world where he never became Batman. A world where no child ever walked through an alley and lost their family. The difference between Batman and Doom had never been that one was stronger. It was that Batman had learned something Doom had not. Pain could not justify taking away everyone else's freedom. Doom looked at the throne. Then he turned away. The Dark King screamed, "You need me." Doom raised his hand. "No." The throne cracked. "I need to accept you." The Dark King froze. Doom continued, "You are part of me." The darkness began shaking. "But you are not all of me." Doom stepped closer. "You are my fear." Another step. "My anger." Another. "My arrogance." The Dark King's form began breaking apart. "My need for control." The crown shattered. Doom looked directly into its eyes. "But you are not my destiny." The Dark King screamed. The tower exploded with light. Across the first world, the heroes watched as black energy poured from the tower. Superman looked upward. "Is he winning?" The stranger shook his head. "No." Batman asked, "Then what's happening?" The stranger looked almost impressed. "He is becoming whole." Inside the tower, Doom stood alone. No armor. No throne. No crown. Just Victor. The black energy gathered in front of him. The Dark King appeared one final time. But now he was smaller. Human. Almost identical to Victor. Doom looked at him. "What happens now?" The Dark King smiled. "You kill me?" Doom shook his head. "No." "Then I remain." "Yes." The Dark King frowned. "Why?" "Because if I destroy you..." Doom placed a hand on his shoulder. "I will spend the rest of my life pretending you never existed." The Dark King stared. Doom continued. "I will remember you." The darkness softened. "I will know what I am capable of." The Dark King slowly disappeared into him. Doom screamed. Not from pain. From release. The black symbol vanished. The tower became silent. Then Doom opened his eyes. They were no longer glowing. They were human. Superman entered the chamber. "Victor." Doom looked at him. "I am still Doom." Superman smiled slightly. "I know." Batman entered behind him. "What happened?" Doom answered. "I stopped fighting myself." Batman nodded. "Good." Then the stranger appeared. "You have passed the first trial." Doom frowned. "First?" The stranger's expression became serious. "Yes." The white world suddenly shook. The entire first world began collapsing. Superman looked around. "What now?" The stranger looked toward the sky. "The thing we feared has arrived." Doom's eyes narrowed. "Another enemy?" "No." The stranger looked at him. "A god." Doom's expression changed. "What kind?" The stranger answered. "The first." A massive shadow appeared beyond the white horizon. The first world trembled beneath its presence. Every star in existence seemed to bend toward it. The stranger dropped to one knee. Doom stared. "You kneel?" The stranger whispered. "We have no choice." Superman looked at Doom. "Victor." Doom slowly raised his mask. Not the Dark King's mask. The old one. The first one. He placed it over his face. Then the ancient god spoke. Its voice reached every universe. "Victor Von Doom." Doom looked upward. "I have watched you conquer infinity." The sky opened. "I have watched you lose it." Doom's fist tightened. "And now?" The ancient being stepped into existence. "I will watch you choose." Doom stared at the god. "Choose what?" The answer shook reality itself. "Whether the multiverse deserves to survive." And behind the ancient god, billions of universes began appearing. Not as worlds. As possibilities. Each one waiting for Doom's decision. For the first time the Dark King had no army. No throne. No weapon. Only a choice. And somewhere in the distance, Batman quietly realized the terrifying truth. The fate of the multiverse was no longer in the hands of its greatest heroes. It was in the hands of the villain they had spent their lives trying to stop. What if the ancient god standing before Doom had the power to erase every universe with a single thought? And what if it offered Doom something no hero could ever offer him? The power to create a perfect multiverse where no one would ever suffer again. The catch. Doom would have to become the Dark King once more. Asterisk asterisk. The first world trembled. Not from an attack. From a decision waiting to be made. Victor Von Doom stood at the edge of the impossible white horizon, staring at the ancient being before him. The god had no visible face. No armor. No weapon. Its body appeared to be made from the beginning of time itself. Every movement created galaxies. Every breath distorted reality. Every word traveled through dimensions. Superman stood beside Doom. Batman remained slightly behind. Neither had ever encountered anything like this. Even Doom's calculations failed. For once, there was no equation. No scientific model. No magical explanation. Only an ancient presence that existed before the rules Doom had spent his life mastering. The being raised one hand. Billions of universes appeared. Some were familiar. Others were impossible. Some contained worlds where every hero lived. Others contained worlds where every villain had won. There were universes of peace. Universes of war. Universes where humanity had conquered the stars. Universes where humanity had disappeared. And then Doom saw one. He stopped breathing. Latveria. But not the Latveria he remembered. It was perfect. His mother was alive. His childhood home stood untouched. There were no scars. No wars. No poverty. No tragedy. Cynthia Von Doom was standing in the garden, waiting for him. Doom whispered, "Mother." Superman looked at him. "Victor." The ancient god spoke. "I can give you that." Doom stared. "You can restore her?" "I can restore anything." Batman stepped forward. "What do you want?" The god turned toward him. "Nothing." Batman frowned. "Nothing?" "Only a choice." Doom understood. "You want me to rule?" The god nodded. "You already know how." Doom looked at the perfect universe. "I could protect every world." "Yes." "I could eliminate war." "Yes." "Disease." "Yes." "Death." The god paused. "Yes." Doom's eyes narrowed. "Then why not do it yourself?" The god answered, "Because I do not want to rule." Doom looked at Superman. The Man of Steel understood immediately. This was the temptation. Not power for power's sake. Power for love. Power to undo pain. Power to erase every tragedy. And that was far more dangerous. The god continued, "You have spent your life believing power corrupts." Doom said nothing. "But power does not corrupt." The god pointed toward Superman. "Fear corrupts." Then Batman. "Loss corrupts." Then Doom. "And love without acceptance becomes control." Doom's expression hardened. "Do not lecture me about love." "I do not." The god's voice softened. "I remind you." The perfect Latveria expanded. Cynthia appeared closer. "Victor." Doom closed his eyes. He remembered her voice. Her hands. Her warnings. The night she died. The years afterward. The experiments. The rituals. The sacrifices. Every choice he made had been connected to that moment. The god spoke again. "You wanted to save your mother." Doom nodded. "You wanted to save your world." "Yes." "You wanted to save every world." Doom looked at the perfect universe. "Yes." "Then save them." The throne appeared. The same throne. The Dark King's throne. The crown floated above it. Doom stared. Batman immediately stepped forward. "Don't." Doom looked at him. "You would deny me the chance to save everyone?" Batman shook his head. "No." He looked at the perfect universe. "I deny you the illusion that you can." Doom stared. Batman continued. "You've spent your entire life trying to make the world safe enough that you never have to feel helpless again." Doom's eyes narrowed. "And what is wrong with that?" "Everything." Batman stepped closer. "Because you're not protecting people." Doom said nothing. "You're protecting yourself from grief." The words landed. Superman moved beside Batman. "You can't erase every loss, Victor." Doom turned toward him. "Why not?" "Because life isn't only about preventing pain." Doom laughed bitterly. "Easy for you to say." Superman looked at the image of Krypton. "I lost an entire planet." Doom stared. "I could restore it." Superman's expression changed. For one second the temptation reached him too. His parents. Krypton. A world where he never lost anyone. But he shook his head. "That's not my Krypton." Doom looked confused. Superman continued. "If you bring it back because you can..." He looked toward the ancient god. "Then you don't restore what was lost. You create something new." Doom looked at Batman. "And you?" Batman looked at the image of his parents. "I would give anything to see them again." Doom waited. "But I wouldn't trade the person I became for a life that never happened." Silence. The ancient god watched. Then it smiled. "You understand." Doom turned toward it. "You planned this." "Yes." "You knew we would resist." "Yes." "You wanted to see whether I would choose control." "Yes." Doom stared. "And if I refuse?" The god's expression became cold. Then the multiverse will remain imperfect. Doom looked at the billions of worlds. People will die. Yes. Wars will happen. Yes. Children will suffer. Yes. Doom clenched his fists. And you call that acceptable? The god answered. No. Doom looked at it. The god continued. I call it free. That word echoed. Free. Doom had spent his entire life treating freedom as a flaw. Now it sounded different. Not chaos. Not weakness. Responsibility. The ability to choose. The ability to fail. The ability to love without guarantees. Doom looked at his mother. She smiled. Not the illusion. Not the perfect version. Just a memory. And suddenly he realized something. His mother had never wanted him to become powerful enough to save her. She had wanted him to become strong enough to live without her. Doom whispered, I understand. The perfect Latveria began fading. Cynthia remained. Victor. He looked at her. She smiled. You don't have to bring me back. Doom's eyes filled with emotion. I know. And you don't have to fix everything. I know. You only have to live. Doom's voice cracked. I don't know how. Cynthia smiled. Then learn. She disappeared. The universe went silent. Doom stood alone. The crown still floated before him. He reached toward it. Superman watched. Batman held his breath. Doom touched the crown. Then he closed his hand around it. The crown shattered. The ancient god smiled. You have chosen. Doom turned. Yes. What do you choose? Doom looked at Superman. Then Batman. Then the countless universes. I choose uncertainty. The god nodded. I choose freedom. The god nodded again. And I choose to let people make mistakes. Pause. And I choose to let them survive those mistakes. The ancient god stepped backward. Then you are ready. Doom frowned. Ready for what? The first world disappeared. Suddenly, Doom, Superman, and Batman were standing above Earth. The Earth. The multiverse had separated. Stars had returned. Cities were rebuilding. Heroes were appearing across the planet. For one brief moment, everything seemed normal. Then Superman noticed something. Where is the god? Doom looked around. Gone. Batman examined the dimensional readings. Wait. The readings spiked. Batman looked at Doom. The first world isn't gone. Doom frowned. Then where is it? Batman looked toward the stars. Inside us. Doom's expression changed. The ancient god had never been testing whether Doom could save the multiverse. It had been testing whether the multiverse could survive without someone ruling it. And the test wasn't over. Suddenly, every hero on Earth received the same message. A voice. Not the Null King. Not the ancient god. Doom. His voice. But Doom hadn't spoken. The message appeared in every mind. Every universe will have a choice. Superman looked at Doom. You didn't send that. No. The message continued. You may remain separate. The sky filled with images of alternate universes. Or you may unite. Batman frowned. Someone is offering the multiverse another choice. Doom looked at the symbols. This isn't an offer. What is it? A challenge. The message continued. Choose unity. The universes began glowing. Choose isolation. The glow disappeared. Choose war. Weapons appeared. Choose peace. The weapons vanished. Choose your own future. Silence. Then a final sentence appeared. But know this. Every hero looked upward. Whatever you choose will determine which universe survives. Superman frowned. That's impossible. Doom stared at the message. No. Batman asked. What is it? Doom's voice became quiet. A test of collective choice. Batman looked at him. Meaning? If every universe chooses differently. Doom paused. The multiverse fractures. Superman understood. And if they choose the same? Doom looked toward the stars. They merge. Batman stared. You're saying we have to convince billions of civilizations to agree on one future? Doom nodded. And if they don't? Doom looked at the darkness. They die. The heroes fell silent. This was no longer a battle. No army could solve it. No weapon could fix it. No single hero could decide. The multiverse had been given something it had never truly possessed before. A choice. And that choice belonged to everyone. The first votes began. Some universes chose peace. Others chose isolation. Some demanded unity. Others demanded independence. Some worlds chose war. Some chose surrender. The multiverse began splitting. Cracks appeared between realities. Superman flew upward. We need to stop this. Batman shook his head. We can't. Why? Because the choice belongs to them. Doom stared at the growing fractures. Then he understood. The ancient god had designed the final challenge perfectly. The multiverse didn't need a king. It needed trust. But trust was harder than conquest. Doom looked at Superman. I know what to do. Superman turned. What? Doom removed his mask. For the first time. He looked across the multiverse. I will ask. A message spread across every reality. Not an order. Not a command. A question. Do you trust one another enough to choose together? The multiverse went silent. For one moment, billions of beings stopped. Heroes. Villains. Kings. Soldiers. Children. Gods. Everyone heard the same question. Then one universe answered. Yes. Another. Yes. Another. No. Another. Yes. The fractures slowed. Doom watched. The multiverse was deciding its future. But then one world sent a different answer. No. A black symbol appeared. Doom's expression changed. Batman saw it. Victor. Doom whispered. That world? Superman asked. What about it? Doom looked toward the symbol. I know that universe. The black symbol expanded. A throne appeared. Someone sat upon it. Not Doom. Not the Null King. Not the ancient god. A man wearing a familiar iron mask. Superman stared. There can't be two Dooms. Doom's eyes narrowed. That isn't another Doom. The figure stood. And removed the mask. Doom froze. Because beneath it was his own face. But older. Colder. And completely without mercy. The alternate Victor smiled across the multiverse. You chose freedom. His voice echoed through every universe. I chose victory. Doom stared. The alternate Doom raised his hand. Behind him stood an army. Not of machines. Not of soldiers. But of conquered universes. Every world he had already destroyed. Every hero he had already defeated. Every god he had already enslaved. And above his throne appeared a title. The words burned across reality. The true Dark King. The alternate Doom looked directly at Victor. You were never the Dark King. Victor slowly raised his mask. The other Doom smiled. I was. And then the armies of the true Dark King began marching toward the multiverse. The final war had found its ruler. And this time, Doom would have to fight himself. What if the greatest enemy Doom could ever face was not a god, an alien, or a cosmic entity, but a version of himself who had achieved everything Victor had ever wanted? And what if this other Doom had already conquered the universes that Victor was still trying to save? Asterisk asterisk. The army appeared without warning. Millions of ships. Billions of soldiers. Armies of machines, monsters, gods, and corrupted heroes. They poured through dimensional fractures like a black ocean. At their center floated a single fortress. The throne of the true Dark King. And standing upon it was Doom. Not Victor as he was now. Not the man who had abandoned his crown. This Doom wore armor forged from the remains of dead universes. His cloak was made from collapsed timelines. His crown was constructed from the symbols of civilizations he had conquered. And behind him floated 6 enormous rings. Each contained a different reality. Each reality was completely silent. No cities. No heroes. No resistance. Only obedience. The true Dark King looked across the multiverse. Then he smiled. Victor. The real Doom stood on Earth. You are an abomination. The other Doom laughed. No. He raised his arms. I am your final form. Superman moved forward. Who are you? The true Dark King looked at him. I am what Victor would have become if he had never learned mercy. Batman narrowed his eyes. How many universes have you conquered? The true Doom smiled. All of them. Batman looked toward the 6 rings. You're lying. No. The true Doom pointed toward the multiverse. You believe there are infinite possibilities. He raised one finger. There aren't. A second finger. There are only choices. A third. And every choice eventually leads to the same truth. He looked at Victor. Someone must rule. Victor stared at him. No. The true Doom smiled. You said those words too. He stepped from the throne. You just haven't admitted that you still believe them. Victor's fists tightened. You are everything I rejected. The true Doom laughed. Exactly. He removed his mask. His face was scarred. But unlike Victor's scars, these were deliberate. Each scar represented a universe conquered. Each one a reminder. I didn't abandon my power. He looked toward Superman. I perfected it. Then Batman. I didn't accept uncertainty. He smiled. I eliminated it. Then Victor. And I never let go of the throne. Victor stared at him. Then why are you here? The True Doom's smile disappeared. Because you broke the rules. Victor frowned. You united the universes. You separated them. You gave them choice. Yes. You weakened the multiverse. Victor looked around. No. The True Doom pointed at the cracks appearing between realities. You created chaos. Victor shook his head. I created freedom. The True Doom's eyes burned. Freedom is chaos. His army moved forward. Superman flew into the air. Then let's see which one survives. The battle began. The sky exploded. Green Lantern constructs collided with black warships. Thor summoned lightning that tore through dimensional fleets. Wonder Woman charged armies of corrupted gods. The Flash moved through time itself, striking enemies before they could attack. Spider-Man swung through collapsing structures, saving civilians from universes that had suddenly merged into Earth's atmosphere. Batman stood inside the Batwing. His screens filled with impossible numbers. Alfred. There was no answer. Batman froze. He had forgotten. Alfred was gone. Not physically. This Batman had never known him. The True Doom had erased him from the timeline. Batman clenched his jaw. Then a voice came through the communication system. Bruce. Batman looked up. Superman. You okay? Batman stared at the battlefield. No. Pause. But I'm working. Superman smiled. That's the Batman I know. Batman accelerated. The Batwing plunged into a fleet of enemy ships. Meanwhile, Victor fought his other self. The two dooms collided above the atmosphere. The first strike shattered a moon. The second split a dimensional barrier. The third created an alternate timeline by accident. Victor was thrown backward. The True Doom followed. You're weaker. Victor stabilized. I'm different. You surrendered power. I rejected tyranny. You rejected certainty. Yes. The True Doom smiled. And that's why you will lose. Victor raised his hands. Magic and technology combined. The True Doom countered instantly. The two fought through thousands of realities. One moment they were above Earth. The next inside Asgard. Then Krypton. Then Gotham. Then a universe made entirely of machines. Everywhere they went, the battle continued. Victor realized something terrifying. The True Doom knew everything he knew. Every spell. Every weapon. Every strategy. Every weakness. Because he was Doom. Victor's Doom. But perfected. The True Doom struck him through a mountain. You cannot defeat me. Victor rose. Why? Because I am you without hesitation. Victor wiped blood from his mouth. Then you are me without humanity. The True Doom stopped. Victor smiled. That is why I will win. The True Doom's expression hardened. He raised his hand. A massive black sphere formed above Earth. Victor's eyes widened. No. The True Doom spoke. Observe. The sphere opened. Inside was a universe. A perfect universe. But it was dying. Millions of people cried out. Superman looked upward. What is that? Victor answered. His weapon. The True Doom smiled. This universe refused to obey. He closed his fist. The universe began collapsing. Superman flew toward it. Stop. The True Doom looked at him. You believe every life matters. Superman entered the collapsing universe. Yes. The True Doom smiled. Then save them. Superman disappeared inside. Victor looked toward Batman. Bruce. Batman understood. He activated the dimensional stabilizer. I'll open the portal. Victor nodded. Together they entered. The universe was collapsing from the edges inward. Cities disappeared. Stars vanished. People screamed. Superman was flying from world to world, carrying as many survivors as possible. Batman coordinated evacuation routes. Victor opened portals. For the first time, the three fought together without arguing. But the universe was too large. Too many people. Too little time. Victor watched an entire civilization disappear. He clenched his fists. The old instinct returned. Control. If he could control everything, he could save everyone. The True Doom appeared before him. You see? Victor stared. This is what happens when you allow choice. Victor looked at the dying universe. The True Doom continued. Your freedom killed them. Victor said nothing. You could have ruled. Victor looked at Superman. The Man of Steel was still saving people. Even knowing he couldn't save everyone. Even knowing some would die. He continued. Victor understood. Freedom did not guarantee survival. but it made survival meaningful. Victor turned toward the True Doom. You're wrong. The True Doom frowned. Victor raised his hands. I can't save everyone. The True Doom smiled. Exactly. Victor's eyes burned. But I can help them save each other. He opened every portal at once. Instead of directing the survivors, he gave them choices. One portal led to Earth. One to Asgard. One to Wakanda. One to another safe universe. Everyone could choose. The survivors began moving. Families reunited. Communities stayed together. Heroes helped civilians. The universe continued collapsing. But now people weren't waiting for one ruler to save them. They were saving each other. The True Doom watched. His expression changed. This is impossible. Victor stepped forward. No. He looked at him. This is freedom. The True Doom attacked. Victor blocked. The impact shook the dying universe. You think compassion makes you stronger? No. Victor struck him. I think choice makes me less afraid. Another strike. You ruled because you were afraid. Another. You conquered because you were afraid. Another. You destroyed every possibility where you could lose. The True Doom screamed. Silence. He unleashed everything. Victor was overwhelmed. His armor cracked. His body fell. The True Doom raised his hand for the final blow. Then Batman appeared. He threw a device. The True Doom caught it. What is this? Batman smiled. A choice. The device exploded. The True Doom was thrown backward. Victor stood. Batman looked at him. Ready? Victor nodded. Superman joined them. The three stood together. The True Doom stared. You cannot defeat me. Superman stepped forward. Maybe not. Batman raised his weapon. But you can be stopped. Victor looked at his alternate self. You wanted to know what makes us different. The True Doom stared. Victor removed his mask. You never learned how to lose. The True Doom's expression changed. Victor continued. You thought losing made you weak. He dropped the mask. But losing taught us what matters. Superman looked at him. Batman nodded. The three attacked. Not as a team built around one leader. Not under Doom's command. Each acted independently. Superman used power. Batman used strategy. Victor used magic. Three different approaches. One purpose. The True Doom couldn't predict them. Because he had built his entire existence around controlling outcomes. He could predict patterns. He could predict strategy. He could predict power. But he couldn't predict choice. Victor struck first. Batman disabled the armor. Superman delivered the final blow. The True Doom's crown shattered. His army stopped. The 6 captured universes opened. The conquered worlds were released. The True Doom fell. Victor caught him. For a moment, the two Dooms looked at each other. The True Doom whispered, Why? Victor answered, Because I know what it's like to believe nobody else can save you. The True Doom laughed weakly. You pity me? No. Victor shook his head. I understand you. The True Doom looked toward the sky. Then tell me. His voice faded. What happens now? Victor looked at the multiverse. Now you choose. The True Doom stared. Then he disappeared. Not destroyed. Not killed. Given a choice. The universe stabilized. The armies vanished. The fractures began healing. Across reality, civilization celebrated. But Victor wasn't celebrating. He was looking at something beyond the stars. Batman joined him. You knew this would happen. Victor shook his head. No. Then why do you look worried? Victor pointed. A tiny crack remained in space. Inside it was darkness. But not the Null King's darkness. Something else. Superman approached. What is that? Victor stared. The first world. Batman frowned. You said it was inside us. It was. Then what changed? Victor looked at the crack. The first world isn't watching anymore. Superman asked. Then what is it doing? Victor's expression became grim. Leaving. The crack widened. Beyond it appeared countless white worlds. Each one looked peaceful. Perfect. Untouched. Then Victor saw the ancient god. But it was not alone. Behind it stood millions of beings. The inhabitants of the first world. And they were leaving their reality. Entering the multiverse. Batman raised his weapon. Why? Victor stared. Because we passed the test. Superman frowned. That sounds like good news. Victor shook his head. No. He looked at the approaching beings. It means they're ready to meet us. The ancient god appeared before them. Its voice echoed softly. You have chosen freedom. Victor nodded. Yes. The god looked across the multiverse. Then we must now show you what freedom costs. The stars began going dark. Not from destruction. From arrival. Millions of beings entered reality. Not invaders. Not conquerors. Something worse. Judges. The ancient god looked at Victor. Every choice creates consequences. Victor raised his mask. Then let us face them. The god smiled. Good. Behind it, the first world opened completely. And for the first time in history, the multiverse was no longer alone. The final war was no longer about who would rule. It was about whether the multiverse deserved to remain free. And Victor Von Doom finally understood the greatest truth of all. A king could control a universe. A god could judge it. But only its people could decide what it became. Then the ancient god raised its hand. Every universe stopped. And one sentence echoed through creation. Let judgment begin. What if the final enemy was never trying to conquer the multiverse at all, but judge whether its countless civilizations were worthy of freedom? And what if Doom, the villain who once believed everyone needed a ruler, became the only one willing to stand before the gods and defend the right of every universe to choose its own destiny? Asterisk asterisk. The word echoed through infinity. Let judgment begin. Everything stopped. No explosions. No battles. No screams. Just silence. Across the multiverse, stars froze in place. Waves stopped above oceans. Ships halted in space. Heroes suspended in midair. Even time itself seemed to hesitate. Then the first world spoke. Not through one voice. Through millions. Every being that had crossed the boundary spoke together. You were given freedom. Their voices filled every universe. You were given choice. The sky above Earth opened. Images appeared. Wars. Destroyed planets. Heroes who became tyrants. Villains who slaughtered civilizations. Worlds that chose peace. Worlds that chose conquest. Worlds that destroyed themselves. The first world showed everything. No history was hidden. No mistake was forgotten. No crime was erased. Superman watched civilizations he had failed to save. Batman saw Gotham's darkest nights. Wonder Woman saw wars that had continued despite everything she had done. Thor saw Asgard fall again and again across countless realities. And Doom saw something worse. He saw himself. Every version. Every failure. Every universe where he had become a tyrant. Every world where he had conquered. Every life destroyed because Victor Von Doom believed his judgment was superior to everyone else's. The ancient god appeared before him. You wanted to rule every universe. Doom stared. Yes. You believed yourself worthy. I did. You believed your intelligence gave you the right. Doom's eyes lowered. Yes. The god asked. And now? Doom looked across the multiverse. Now I know intelligence doesn't give me the right to decide for others. The god nodded. Then prove it. A massive symbol appeared above Earth. A scale. One side represented freedom. The other represented survival. The ancient god spoke. Every civilization must answer one question. Superman looked upward. What question? The answer came immediately. Would you surrender your freedom if it guaranteed your survival? The multiverse went silent. It was the same question Doom had spent his entire life answering incorrectly. Would you give up choice for safety? Would you surrender freedom for peace? Would you accept a king if the king could guarantee no one would ever suffer again? The votes began. Some worlds said yes. Others said no. The multiverse split. Again. The first world watched. But this time, Doom didn't intervene. Batman looked at him. You're not going to manipulate the vote? No. Even if they choose wrong? Doom looked at him. Who am I to decide what wrong means? Batman nodded. Superman smiled. Then something unexpected happened. The first universe to answer yes changed its mind. A child spoke. The message came from a tiny world. A world with no superheroes. No gods. No advanced technology. Just ordinary people. The child said, if someone guarantees that nobody will ever hurt us. The child paused. What happens when we no longer get to choose who we become? The answer spread. Other worlds listened. Then another civilization changed its vote. Then another. The scale began shifting. Not because Doom commanded them. Not because Superman inspired them. Because people were thinking. Choosing. Arguing. Learning. The first world watched. Then the ancient god smiled. Interesting. Doom looked at it. You wanted them to choose freedom. No. The god shook its head. I wanted them to understand freedom. Doom stared. The god continued. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. It looked across the multiverse. Freedom is accepting responsibility for what you choose. Batman nodded. Superman understood. And Doom finally did too. The judgment wasn't about whether the multiverse was good. It was about whether the multiverse was capable of learning. The scale stabilized. Then the ancient god spoke. Judgment is complete. The multiverse waited. What is your decision? Superman asked. The god looked toward the countless worlds. You are flawed. Silence. You are violent. More silence. You are afraid. The god looked at Doom. And you are capable of becoming monsters. Doom accepted the words. Yes. The god raised its hand. But you are also capable of change. The scales disappeared. You are worthy. Across the multiverse, stars ignited. One by one. Millions. Billions. Trillions. Every universe began glowing again. The first world opened completely. Then something unexpected happened. The beings of the first world began disappearing. Superman looked confused. Where are they going? The ancient god answered. Home. Batman asked. Why? Because you no longer need us. Doom stepped forward. You're leaving? Yes. After all this? The god smiled. Judgment was never meant to become rule. Doom understood. The first world had refused to become another empire. It had refused to replace Doom as ruler. It had simply shown the multiverse what it was capable of becoming. The ancient god looked at Doom. And you? Doom raised his head. You have one final choice. What? The god pointed toward the dark citadel. It still existed. The throne remained. The armor remained. The crown waited. Everything Doom had once possessed. The god said, You can keep it. Doom stared. The multiverse has no king. Not yet. You could rule fairly. Doom almost laughed. That's what I used to tell myself. The god nodded. Then destroy the throne. Doom looked toward the citadel. Superman said nothing. Batman said nothing. The decision belonged to Doom. He walked toward the throne. Each step brought back memories. His victories. His enemies. His empire. His mother. His mistakes. The Dark King. The Null King. The true Doom. Every version of himself. He reached the throne. For a moment he placed his hand on it. The throne whispered. Victor. Doom closed his eyes. You made the multiverse kneel. Yes. You saved worlds. Yes. You conquered gods. Yes. You became the greatest ruler in existence. Doom opened his eyes. No. The throne paused. Doom looked at it. I became the greatest prisoner. He raised his hand. The throne began cracking. The crown shattered. The dark citadel trembled. Across the universe, every symbol of Doom's empire disappeared. His armies dissolved. His towers vanished. His monuments crumbled. The Dark King was ending. But before the throne disappeared completely, Doom heard his mother's voice. Victor. He froze. He turned. Cynthia stood behind him. Not as a ghost. Not as an illusion. Just a memory. A final memory. She smiled. You finally came home. Doom's eyes filled with tears. I don't know where home is. Cynthia stepped closer. Home was never a place. Doom stared. It was the people you chose to protect. Doom whispered. I lost so many. I know. I couldn't save you. You were never supposed to. Doom lowered his head. For the first time in his life, Victor Von Doom allowed himself to grieve. Not as a king. Not as a villain. Not as a god. As a son. His mother touched his face. Then disappeared. The throne shattered. The dark citadel collapsed. But this time no universe collapsed with it. The multiverse remained. Free. Separate. Connected by choice rather than force. Superman landed beside Doom. For several seconds neither spoke. Then Superman said, You did it. Doom looked toward the stars. No. Superman frowned. We did. Batman joined them. Don't get sentimental. Superman smiled. Doom almost laughed. Almost. Then Batman looked at him. What happens now? Doom thought about it. For years he would have answered immediately. Build. Conquer. Oh. Now he had no answer. And somehow, that felt right. I don't know. Batman smiled slightly. Good. Doom looked at him. Why? Because for once. Batman turned toward the city. Neither do I. They stood together. Three figures who should never have been allies. The hero. The detective. The villain. But the universe didn't care what they were supposed to be. It only cared what they chose to become. Across the stars, civilizations began rebuilding. Heroes returned home. Villains disappeared into shadows. Governments reformed. Worlds reopened communication. For the first time, the multiverse had no ruler. No single throne. No supreme king. No absolute authority. There was uncertainty. There was danger. There would be wars. There would be loss. There would be mistakes. But there would also be choice. And somewhere far beyond Earth, Victor Von Doom built something new. Not a weapon. Not a throne. Not an army. A school. A place where scientists, heroes, diplomats, and even former villains could study the multiverse. A place where no single person controlled the future. Above the entrance was a simple inscription. Not Doom. Not Victor. Not King. 3 words. Choose your future. Years passed. The multiverse changed. Some worlds became allies. Some remained distant. Some went to war. Some found peace. There were victories. There were tragedies. But no one ruler could erase them. Because no one ruler could erase choice. And Victor Von Doom? He became something no universe had ever expected. A guardian. Not because anyone forced him. Not because anyone worshipped him. Because he chose it. Sometimes Superman visited. Sometimes Batman appeared without warning. Sometimes Doom complained that they were wasting his time. Sometimes they argued. Sometimes they fought. But they always returned. Because somewhere between conquest and redemption, something strange had happened. Doom had found what he had spent his entire life searching for. Not power. Not immortality. Not control. Purpose. One night, years after the war, Doom stood alone on the balcony of his observatory. He looked at the stars. Billions of universes. Billions of possibilities. A gentle wind moved his cloak. Then he heard a voice. Victor. Doom turned. No one was there. He looked back toward the stars. A tiny black point appeared. His eyes narrowed. The Null King? No. Something else. The point expanded. A familiar symbol appeared. The black circle. The 7 fractured stars. Doom stared. The first world had left. The ancient god was gone. The throne was destroyed. The multiverse was free. So why was the symbol returning? A voice whispered. You passed the test. Doom slowly reached for his mask. But the test was never the war. His eyes narrowed. Then what was it? The voice answered. The war was only the beginning. Doom looked toward the stars. How many tests remain? The voice laughed. Enough to keep you busy. Doom smiled beneath the mask. Then come. The stars suddenly exploded into light. Across the multiverse, countless portals opened. But these were not portals of invasion. They were windows. Windows into unexplored realities. New universes. New civilizations. New heroes. New threats. New possibilities. Doom looked at them. Once he would have wanted to conquer them. Now, he simply watched. And waited. Because Victor Von Doom had finally learned the lesson that no god, hero, or villain could teach him. The multiverse was never meant to belong to one king. It was meant to belong to everyone who had the courage to choose what came next. And so the Dark King disappeared. Not because he was defeated. Not because he died. But because the man beneath the crown finally understood that he never needed one. The legend of Doom continued. Some called him villain. Some called him hero. Some called him monster. Others called him savior. But Victor never cared about the names anymore. He only cared about the choice. And when the next crisis came, when the next impossible threat emerged from beyond the stars, when the universe once again begged someone to take control, Victor Von Doom would stand at the edge of creation, look into the darkness, and ask the only question that mattered. What will you choose? Because once upon a time, one villain ruled every universe. He believed absolute power could create perfect peace. He believed freedom was weakness. He believed everyone needed a king. But in the end, the greatest victory of the Dark King was not conquering the multiverse. It was having the power to rule it, and choosing not to. The crown was gone. The throne was gone. The empire was gone. But Victor Von Doom remained. Not as a king. Not as a god. Not as a conqueror. As a man who finally understood that true strength was not the ability to control every universe. True strength was trusting those universes to choose their own destiny. And somewhere beyond the stars, billions of worlds continued their stories. Some would rise. Some would fall. Some would become legends. Others would disappear. But they would all be free. And that was the one victory even Doom could never have achieved by force. The multiverse did not need a Dark King. It needed a choice. And for the first time, Every universe had one.